that is so my career is actually kind of interesting because I started at the physical layer. So probably close to 30 years ago now, I applied for a position as a cable puller. And this was back in the days of thin net and thick Ethernet and taps and but my role was to install cabling for customers. And I took that initial introduction into the physical layer and moved my way up the stack, getting into networking and switching and routing and firewalling, and then servers and internet connectivity and the security that's around that. And then it just blossomed into the SaaS world. I have had, an experience with somebody who actually was doing a career switch and came on board to the company I was a director of IT at as an intern, and that allowed him to kind of see what roles we were playing, and then us to kind of evaluate his skill set. So that worked out well for him, even though he was probably, I don't know, maybe 32 at the time. So an older than normal or average intern, but it gave him exposure into the world. The other thing is, a lot of times you'll get somebody that's working for a company that may not have a dedicated IT team, and people that are able to transition will just start taking on more and more IT level responsibilities, rebooting the server when it needs to, or setting up networking or wireless, some of the basic lower level tasks. And then they become the go-to person for the company, and it eventually will turn into a career. Well, I think AI just kind of follows the natural progression of using Google as a tool to facilitate your role. When I look to hire people, one of the skills that I look for is an ability to Google an answer, right? So I don't expect everybody to retain everything about IT, because there's so many different areas and aspects and functions. And I think that AI can be used as a tool to enhance your career. And those of us in IT, we need to not be afraid of it, because as smart and as good as AI is, you always need that human element to be able to ask the right questions or the right follow-up questions with an end user who might be experiencing problems. AI doesn't necessarily solve it if you don't know how to ask it for the correct answer. So AI is a tool that I can see IT people using more and more, and it's just going to be a way of making them better at their jobs. To me, it's a lot of acronyms and buzzwords that don't seem to fit together. Somebody might try to adjust their resume to match the job description, but if you look at where they're working or what technologies they're utilizing, it doesn't fit. To me, you don't have to necessarily have all the certifications in the world. You just have to show an aptitude for getting things done. Well, so this is a pretty major problem. For me, I always try to make my resume look attractive, and design it for the human reader. And now with applicant tracking systems and everything is being processed and AI'd, and you have to make sure that your resume translates into the systems that are doing the scans. There's in AI companies out there that'll write your resume for you, or rewrite it based on job roles, and that's a good way to get the specific information into your resume. So you kind of have to modify your resume for every role that you apply in, and provide a decent cover letter that will get you noticed. But the big thing is making sure it's readable by the applicant tracking system so that you get past that first screen. I think that right now in this climate, the most important thing is to network. You need to find people that work in the company that you may have known from the past or worked with or went to school with or something. But having that extra human touch, I send my resume to you, you submit it to HR, and HR puts it at the top of the pile or pretty close to it. If you look at LinkedIn or any of the job boards, a position will be posted and within 2 hours there's 200 applicants. So you need that extra step to distinguish yourself from the 199 people that are in front of you and the 1,000 that are going to be behind you. So really networking and some kind of a personal connection doesn't always work, but it definitely helps. Most recruiters, when they receive a resume, will automatically look for you on LinkedIn. And, there's always a ton of jobs that are posted there. So I think that's one of the biggest resources. There are, more specific or niche kind of job boards. Dice has a very strong focus on IT. Using the right search terms, you can make monster work for yourself. So really, it's finding out where the industries you're interested in are actually posting their jobs. Sometimes that's their career page, but you can also look at their career page and see where they're pulling in their candidates, and also trying to network with your people to see where their companies are posting their jobs, so that you can hopefully find the right fit. Yeah, I mean there's tools like Reddit and Lemmy that you can subscribe to their sysadmin or IT or whatever security channels, and use that as kind of like a when you have some downtime, whether it's before or after work or in between tasks or something, you can check out those sources, and then inevitably that'll lead you to some more technical resources that might be out there. Podcasts, YouTube videos. There's a lot of ways that you can like fill your time. There's a ton of content on YouTube and TikTok, and where people are really, doing a fantastic service of sharing their knowledge and information. And you can take it in little snippets during the course of your day. In my view, being an older person in IT, during my career, I've run across a number of people who have every combination of initials after their name that you can imagine, and I've found that there was a strong period of time where people were, paper certified. They could say that they're, Cisco or whatever, and you actually put them in front of the console and they have no clue what to do. So I personally don't rely heavily on certifications. I want to find somebody that has a curiosity and a desire to learn all the time, not be stagnant in their job, and present to you ways of improving processes or automation or tools that the employees can use. So it's more an eagerness to learn and to do good than to have 27 certifications after your name. They need to be familiar with those standards, ITIL and et cetera. I don't think anybody could possibly memorize all of the controls that are related. but you have to have a strong understanding of basic security controls, and be able to communicate to the end users why it's important to have a 15-character password that is complex or whatever. So you need to be able to translate the policies and procedures that your company is instituting in a way that your end users can understand the benefit. And it's not always like a financial benefit, but indirectly it is with, like phishing training and things like that, where you're avoiding getting, caught with ransomware. So, from an IT point of view, it's being able to communicate why in a way that the end users can understand, and then, to make sure that you understand the frameworks that your organization is operating under. Really, it's collaboration. It's the ability for the IT team to work with the various departments, understand what their needs are, at the same time having the larger picture of what the organization is either allowing or utilizing, and be able to work with the various departments as a partner, and not, the worst thing that an IT team can do is kind of, force the teams or departments to utilize tools that don't make perfect sense for them. The best approach is to, collaborate and figure out, hey, we've got this, and this for an option, and let's figure out what works best for your needs. So, collaboration, listening is huge, and, always kind of staying abreast of technology and changing when it's necessary, and not changing when it isn't necessary.